What up? This is the Golden Era, and we are recording this after Game 6. And because you didn't see a lick of basketball, that means we are getting the greatest thing in championship rounds, Game 7 NBA Finals back in Orlando. Game 6 was a stinker. 147-98. The Phoenix Suns led from the very beginning all the way through the end. It's not even worth showing you a minute of what was a just brutal blowout. Huge night from Cade Cunningham, 38 and 13. Corey Flynn, Orlando's leading scorer, with 24 points. Just a game that's forgettable because all the momentum is on the side as we head into Orlando for Phoenix. The Suns they have confidence, and Orlando clearly looking demoralized after that double overtime Game 5 loss at home, when on multiple occasions they were within 60 seconds, within 90 seconds of an NBA championship. Obviously that's not to be, because now we're headed to Game 7. We're going to bring it to you coming up right now.
The moment has arrived. Game 7 of the NBA Finals. Phoenix have reached the final destination. An epic journey is nearly complete. The opportunity to win the ultimate prize in a series that will go the distance. They must bring all they can muster against the Magic. Game 7 of the NBA Finals.
Game 7, NBA Finals. It does not get any better than this. Orlando and Phoenix, both squads looking for their first NBA championship. It's in Orlando, and a series that has had all sorts of ups and downs. The 3-1 start, Orlando just looked far superior than Phoenix in this one. Their depth was apparent until Game 5, when that man, Jacoby Cleaves, saved the day. The game winner in double overtime kicked off a little two-game stretch where Phoenix has been dominant. They had a huge Game 6 win that sets up on the road all the momentum in the world, a Game 7 with a chance for Orlando to try to exercise demons or stare at another disappointing conclusion to a season, or for Phoenix to try to show that Jacoby Cleaves and the Suns are indeed next. Jason Tatum kicks it off scoring in this one. A couple of notes: Jacoby Cleaves starting at the 5 for the Phoenix Suns, so Lawrence Marcotta coming off the bench. In his place is Jaden Springer. What we're going to see is Jacoby Cleaves guarding Trey Hunter. We've got Malik Hightower guarding Jalen Green, Cade Cunningham on Jason Tatum. That's going to set up that man. Trayvon Bukes on Carson Hughes. Expect to see Orlando, who kicks off on a 6-0 run, to try to attack that mismatch. I think they're going to like the opportunity with Carson Hughes guarding Trayvon Bukes. Huge size advantage. On the opposite side, with Jacoby Cleaves at the 5, they're going to try to get him going inside the paint. They're going to try to get him active, as we see Trey Hunter find Philip Tyler, and again going inside is Orlando. Carson Hughes just not an interior defensive threat against Trayvon Bukes. Again, they're engaging it in the pick and roll. To the rack goes Bukes for two more. Highly engaged early on in this game. And surprise, surprise, they go to a pick and roll featuring Trayvon Bukes, and Jason Tatum buries the 3. All of that's going to matter in this one. How do they get their bigs involved? How do they attack Jaden Springer, who's going to be guarded by Philip Tyler, who's filling in for Elton Dawkins? The Magic don't really have a lot of size depth on this team. Behind Philip Tyler and Elton Dawkins, there's not a lot. Antonio Bennett's had a good postseason and a good NBA Finals specifically, but expect to see quite a bit out of Corey Flynn. They're going to need him to step up on the perimeter for this group. It is going to take a full team effort as Jacoby Cleaves gets to the paint. What was an early lead is no longer. It's 17-16 off the miss. A chance here for Phoenix to take the lead. To Malik Hightower they go, and the scoring drought has gifted the Phoenix Suns a first quarter advantage here as they try to find a way in, but it's Trayvon Bukes banking it off the glass. He's going to be a big factor in this. Trey Hunter struggled early on in this first quarter. Jalen Green hasn't been a big part of it. Trayvon Bukes is going to have to step up, and frankly, if you're Phoenix, and you're relying on Trayvon Bukes, and you're looking at Orlando, you're saying, I love that matchup as Bukes going at Anthony Edwards now. You say, I love that because we got Malik Hightower, we got Cade Cunningham, we got Jacoby Cleaves. We can roll on this on size. This is an Orlando team that is based almost entirely off of guard play, but a good find from Antonio Bennett to a cutting Trayvon Bukes. And as we wrap up this first quarter, Bukes is on a roll, and it's a 4-point edge for the Orlando Magic headed to the second quarter. Yes, the Suns are cooking, but a tough night from Trey Hunter thus far has not spelled doom. Lead up to 6 here. Good find, and Jacoby Cleaves on Antonio Bennett. What do we see out of Phoenix here as Jason Tatum gets into the paint off Jaden Springer? You need a good game from Jaden Springer if he's going to step in off the bench as Trey Hunter again misses this one. You've got a 4-point lead if you're Orlando, but Trey Hunter 1 of 7 thus far, and then he's going to be called for the blocking foul, a brutal sequence for the All-NBA point guard. Guy trying to get his first championship, and you can feel the jitters of this one. Pull up, triple, Trey Hunter won't go, and the cold spell continues. Now it's time for Jacoby Cleaves. This is a big game, I think, not necessarily legacy defining, but this is going to be a game that we're going to look back on for Carson Hughes and Jaden Springer and say, yep, that's why this thing worked out, or that's why it didn't. Philip Tyler getting active. If those guys are making an impact in this game, and Carson Hughes can certainly do that on the offensive end, Jaden Springer's going to have to do that on the defensive end. If that can happen, I think you feel pretty good about yourself if you're the Phoenix Suns, because you kind of know Cade Cunningham and Jacoby Cleaves are going to show up. On the opposite side, if you're Orlando, as Trey Hunter pulls up and again misses, this is a big game, and the spotlight has to be on Philip Tyler as he gets beat back as Jacoby Cleaves, and it's a tie basketball game at 40 apiece. If Philip Tyler gets beat as he gets torched by Cade Cunningham on the pick and roll, and the run is on here for Phoenix now up 3, I'm getting a little concerned as they've checked out Philip Tyler. Jaden Springer, we talked about him a second ago, buries a 3-pointer. It's a 6-point lead, and Orlando trying to staunch the bleeding. Jalen Green will do that, cuts it back to a 3-point deficit. Those two guys, Philip Tyler and Trayvon Bukes, who's been active. Trayvon Bukes dealing with a little bit of a knee injury. We're seeing how active he's been. 16 points, 14 of them in the paint. Good drive inside by Jacoby Cleaves. Draws the foul. 6-point game here with 3:41. Let's keep an eye on that. The lead is now ballooned to 7. Ballooned in the exaggeratory sense. Back to 5 there. So how can the Phoenix Suns here answer the bell without Philip Tyler? Interestingly, kind of been the better piece on this defense. Miss from Bukes. 5-point lead still. Chance to push in transition. Jacoby Cleaves, the two-handed slam, makes it 7. He's got 25 points. More than, or nearly half of what Phoenix has got. Missed there by Bukes and a chance to extend. 125. Kick up. Cade Cunningham. Riling inside. It's Malik Hightower, and they are assaulting the paint. This undersized Orlando team. No signs of stopping. Complete whiff there. 9-point game here. Late second quarter. Malik Hightower. Pull up. Triple. Bang! 12-point game with under a minute. Jason Tatum misses that one. Chance for a 2-for-1 for Phoenix. What was a close game. Suddenly on the verge of a blowout here. Cade Cunningham up inside, gets it to go, makes it 14 points. Flexing on them, and the Orlando Magic, who were leading early and throughout this basketball game, going into the half, down 11, 64-53. We're into the second half, and Jacoby Cleaves kicking it off. He has been incredible. No answer with him at the 5. 13-point game, powers it, kicks it, corner 3, good, and it's a 16-point game. The avalanche is on. Trayvon Bukes inside to settle things, and that's been what the Magic have had to go to. 20 points from Trayvon Bukes. He's been their offense for this game as Carson Hughes rattles home a 3, and it's a 17-point basketball game here early in the third. Malik Hightower, it's Jalen Green, and it's Trey Hunter trying to swarm him. Good find from Jacoby Cleaves back to Hightower. A 19-point lead. The lead has expanded. My goodness, Phoenix finally attacking inside. We talked early on, draws the Orlando timeout. The size is not there for Orlando, and that is what continually the Phoenix Suns are going after. Here comes Trey Hunter. He struggled trying to break off a little bit of the rust. Gets that bucket. Next time down, Jalen Green, the offensive board. The kick out to Bukes. Huge mismatch. They bring the double. Jalen Green, corner 3. They need it. They get it. looking at the crowd, trying to get them back into it. The lead's down to 14. Next time down, 5:40 to go. Finds Jalen Green, mid-range, good. Jalen Green single-handedly trying to pull the Orlando Magic back into this basketball game. He's cut it from 19 down to 12. They've held the Phoenix Suns scoreless for 2 minutes. Good find inside. Hey, there he is, Philip Tyler. If you had Philip Tyler being the difference maker on your bingo board, I'd like to talk to you about lottery tickets as a 3 is answered by Carson Hughes. This team has looked better with Philip Tyler on the floor. Without Elton Dawkins, they have just not had an interior presence. The 5 quick points and the lead back to 15. Orlando needs something. Trey Hunter, their MVP, rattling a 3 that is big, that draws a Phoenix timeout. They need their stars. Orlando needs their stars, but interestingly enough, they need Philip Tyler. Jalen Green's been hot. He stays hot with a big 3. He's got 8 in this third quarter, and he has pulled this team back within 10, down by as many as 19. Here comes Flint, driving to the rack, gets that to go on Malik Hightower. Next time down, still an 8-point game. It's Jalen Green going to work on Anthony Edwards, up, under, good, and it's a 6-point game. Rallying back over to Corey Flynn in the corner, deep 2, and it's a 2-point basketball game. The Phoenix Suns had the Orlando Magic on the rope. Here comes Antonio Bennett, yes sir, and it's a 2-point game. Rallying back in this second half of the third quarter. Kick it, Hightower 3, answers. Quiets this Orlando crowd, but we head to the fourth. We thought we were headed towards a blowout, but the reserves for the Orlando Magic, Antonio Bennett, Philip Tyler, Trayvon Bukes have answered. We're headed to the fourth quarter, Game 7, NBA Finals, 6-point basketball game. Jalen Green was huge in that third. Trey Hunter trying to get rolling to kick off the fourth, and he does. And you can see that emotion right here from Trey Hunter trying to get that crowd into this basketball game. It's a 4-point game, and this is just a ruckus environment. The Phoenix Suns, the Orlando Magic, get another look at this drive on Carson Hughes, who has been the target of this Orlando attack. Trey Hunter doing his thing, heads to the free throw line to try to make it a 1-possession game. Talked early on. Carson Hughes, Jaden Springer, those 2 guys were going to matter. On the defensive side, that man has been the focal point of Orlando's attack. Trayvon Bukes has had him in switches throughout this game. They've tried to go with a small ball lineup with Markota on the floor. It worked for much of it, but when this team got rolling, Jalen Green got hot in that second half of the third quarter, and it's now a 1-possession game. Very early in this one, Cade Cunningham, Jacoby Cleaves on a roll. We're going to lock in for it. Here comes Malik Hightower trying to find something, guarded by Bukes. This is a handoff back to Cade Cunningham, trying to go to work inside on Jalen Green. That's going to be a foul. And we've got what should be just a doozy of a finish coming up this time, as the Orlando Magic try to find some way to bring this thing back, down by as many as 19. They'll inbound here, 10:50 to go in the fourth quarter. Get a screen here. That's going to get Carson Hughes downhill. Corner 3 from Malik Hightower, burying that one again. He's hit 2 right in front of the Orlando bench, and the lead has swelled back up to 6 points here with 10.5 to go in the fourth quarter. Jacoby Cleaves has been the primary defender on Trey Hunter throughout this game, picking him up 3/4 court. Jason Tatum, he hits a big 3. Look, Jason Tatum, I think, was a big question mark for this team coming into this playoffs, and particularly this postseason, this NBA Finals. He's obviously a future Hall of Famer, a former scoring champ. Now they need him to be so much more, and Trey Hunter starting to get rolling. Back-to-back triples, has this thing back to 95 apiece with 9.5 to go. Inside they go to Cleaves. He's trying to go to work. Double team comes up and under, trying to work in nearly a 3-second violation. Gets that to go on on Jason Tatum. Inside they go to Hunter. He's been a lot better in this fourth quarter. They needed something out of Trey Hunter. He's arrived with it, tying this thing up at 99 apiece. Double team comes. Anthony Edwards, he's been quiet, no longer. Big triple. Lead back up to 5 here after some free throws. Jason Tatum, pull up mid-range, good, on the money. I don't think the Orlando Magic are in this series and in this game if it's not for 2 men. Trayvon Bukes in the early part. In the third quarter, it was Jalen Green. 2 more men have arrived on the scene. Jason Tatum and Trey Hunter have been phenomenal as a triple there pushes it back to 8. 4:40 to go. Here comes Tatum under the backboard. Good find inside. Good cut from Trayvon Bukes. He's been on a roll. There's Anthony Edwards. High shot volume, 36%, but Jason Tatum burying a pull-up three. Here comes Hughes. Kicks it. Corner Malik Hightower. He's hit a pair of them. Can he get a third? No. Off the back rim and out. Chance to tie. Dre Hunter fading away. Won't go. Defensive board by Carson Hughes. He's going to try to push in transition. 3 minutes and 36 seconds left, and he gets it to fall. It's a 5-point basketball game. Here's Trey Hunter. Pull up over top of Jacoby Cleaves. Won't go. Defensive board by Cunningham. Shoving away Jason Tatum. Here comes Ant. Driving on Bukes. Foul call. That'll send Anthony Edwards to the line. Chance with just over 3. Pushes it to a 6. Pushes it to a 7-point game. Teetering on the edge. The Orlando Magic down by as many as 19 points in this second half. They rally back to tie. They have not been able to take a lead. Trey Hunter, circus shot, gets it to go. And it's a 4-point game. 2.5 to go. A much-needed shot by Trey Hunter. He gets it. Anthony Edwards tries to answer, won't go. The board for Hunter. 4 seconds to shoot, down by 4. Pull up, three-pointer. Off the back rim, long rebound, kick up to Anthony Edwards. This is going to be the easiest 2-pointers. I beg your pardon, Malik Hightower. And the lead is back to 6 with 2 minutes to go, and the Orlando Magic take a timeout. Here comes Jason Tatum, trying to be 1 ounce of space. He's guarded by Cade Cunningham. Pull up, jumper, good. 4-point game with 1:40 to go. Next time down is Cade Cunningham driving on the rack. Good defense by Bukes. Better offense by Cade Cunningham. And the Orlando Magic, 6 points down. Philip Tyler to the rack, but 1:20 to go. And the Phoenix Suns can feel a championship. Philip Tyler, 1 free throw, 2 free throws. 4-point game. Big possession now. 1:13 to go. They go inside to Malik Hightower. Bukes on the defense. Good defense. Bounces around. Pulls down the board. Over a minute to go, and it's a 4-point game. Jalen Green trying to pause things. Crossover, up, floater, good. Jalen Green, who saved him in the third quarter, has answered in the fourth. Puts Malik Hightower on skates before the floater over Cade Cunningham. Answer the bell, Jalen Green. Here comes Cade Cunningham to the rack. The spin is good, and it's a 4-point game with 40 seconds left. Engaging Philip Tyler to the rack. He goes up and in, and he has been huge in this second half. And we're back to a 2-point game and an incredible finish to this Game 7. Cade Cunningham can't get it to go over Bukes. Green the board. 24 seconds. 2-point game. He sets himself. Trying to find some type of option. Clock kicks down. Jason Tatum in the corner. He gets it. He looks away from 3. Jason Tatum with 15.9 seconds left has given the Orlando Magic a 1-point lead. Oh my goodness, the stones, the cojones on Jason Tatum. A 3, and he looks to the crowd, knows it's pure, and it's a 1-point game chance to answer. They're trying to get the inbound. Looking, inbound, it's going to be tipped away by Philip Tyler, who's fouled. And just like that, Anthony Edwards has gifted the Orlando Magic the biggest free throws. Nick Anderson, eat your heart out. Can Philip Tyler push this to a 3-point game with 15 seconds left? First free throw. Good. 2-point game. That's the big one. That's the big one. Here's the second one. The biggest free throw in Orlando Magic history to push it to a 3-point game. Rattles home. They need a 3-pointer to tie. Inbound to Carson Hughes. Kicks to Cade Cunningham. Sprints across the midline. Pull up from the logo. Back rim and out halfway. And that's it. That's going to do it. The Orlando Magic can seal it with Jason Tatum free throws. Gets the first to make it a 4-point game. And Orlando Magic are going to rally from down 19 points to claim an NBA championship at home in Game 7 against the Phoenix Suns. There will be no meltdown. There will be no heartbreak. All there will be is a Jason Tatum no-look corner 3-pointer. And there you have it. For the first time in franchise history, the Orlando Magic are NBA champions. Absolutely incredible. Well, we're back. We're recording this right after Game 7. Orlando Magic are NBA champions for the first time in franchise history. An incredible game. Down by 19 in the second half. Jason Tatum hits the no-look three-pointer in the corner, just the stones on him. Look, this was huge, and I want to do a little bit of a legacy impact on this one, but first, just props to two names, Trayvon Bukes and Philip Tyler. These guys were massive in that championship game. Trayvon Bukes especially. They turned to him time and time again to go after Carson Hughes. I didn't think we were going to get that. That was an interesting schematic adjustment by Phoenix, and Trayvon Bukes kept Orlando in this game. And then it was Philip Tyler down the stretch with huge buckets. Obviously, the two free throws up by one were franchise altering. I mean, that is a tough spot for a guy that was out of the rotation in the first three games of this series. Elton Dawkins goes down and Philip Tyler inserted, but he had huge buckets down the stretch in this one when they needed every single basket to stay alive. But ultimately, the Jason Tatum three with 15.9 seconds left in the corner puts them up by one, and then Anthony Edwards tries to get the inbound, can't because of Philip Tyler. Legacy updates, because this matters. Trey Hunter just became the third best guard of this generation. He might have been on the fringe of that, but now he is securely the number 3 guard behind Jalen Justice and Javon Roll. Javon Roll's got, 4 championships? Jalen Justice has 3 MVPs. It's really tough to say Trey Hunter's better than either of them, but he moves himself above Cade Cunningham. He moves himself above some of these guys like Brighton Reed, who now don't have any NBA titles. Well above now, Jalen Green. I know they both got a championship, but this is just an MVP, a multiple-time All-NBA point guard. Trey Hunter is going to now walk out of this league one of the greatest point guards of this generation. He's going to currently now have 1 NBA championship, 1 Finals MVP, 1 MVP, 7-time All-NBA, 9-time All-Star, and he's not done. I mean, Trey Hunter's coming back, so you got a shot to be a 10-time All-Star. Not many people have made All-Star games in double digits. If his career goes, we're looking at 8, maybe 9 All-NBA nods, and you have to expect this team is going to be a contendership but for another championship. But 3 finals appearances, and now the coveted NBA Finals MVP. That is where Trey Hunter now walks along. There are very few guys that have an MVP and a Finals MVP. Trey Hunter now has that. That's the same number of Finals MVPs as Jalen Justice. They're both behind, obviously, Javon Roll as the number 1 guys of this generation, but completely altering the track record there. Meanwhile, Jalen Green, he was fantastic in these NBA Finals, as we get his stats for you. In these NBA Finals, Jalen Green, 22.4 points, 7.7 rebounds, 5.4 assists, shot 48% from deep, 55% from the floor. He was fantastic. And if there's doubters, you want to sit here and say, well, Jalen Green's he's not an MVP. The one time he gets it was his only time that he's ever been All-NBA. I get it. It was a knock on that record. It wasn't the best MVP that we are ever going to look back on and say that probably should have gone to either Zion or Luka. It went to Jalen Green. But he's now an NBA champion, and he's the second leading scorer on an NBA champion after going to 3 straight NBA Finals. That's rarefied air. You know who didn't do that? Luka Doncic, because he's never been to one. You know who didn't do that? Giannis Antetokounmpo. You know who didn't do that? Kevin Durant. I mean, these are impactful names of this generation. And none of them did what Jalen Green just did, which is make 3 finals and win an NBA title. Now, does that make him a better player? No, of course not. But this isn't player rankings now, is it? We're talking legacy rankings. And for Jalen Green, this is an altering legacy. And this is huge for both Trey Hunter and Jalen Green, because these are guys that have stuck out in Orlando. It's not like they got drafted to the Lakers, they got drafted to the Celtics, the Bulls, the Warriors, a marquee franchise in a marquee market. No, these guys went to the Orlando Magic and just took them to an NBA championship. This is Ja Morant level. And I think this championship moves Trey Hunter past Ja Morant, who's probably in this era maybe the second, third best guard. Third or fourth best guard. Trey Hunter's now ahead of him. And Jalen Green, I think you start making the argument to say, hey, look, maybe he only has one MVP. But Jalen Green, as we double check on our stats here, Jalen Green has 8-time All-Star, 3-time Finals NBA Finals appearances, 1 NBA championship, 1 MVP, 1 All-NBA. That's just Ja Morant, 7-time All-NBA, 9-time All-Star, no MVPs, 1 NBA Finals appearance, 1 NBA Finals MVP. That's it. So yeah, Ja Morant, better All-NBA mark, but Jalen Green consistently there, gets them now an NBA championship. That matters. The biggest winner of all of this, though, is Jason Tatum. Because Jason Tatum in this NBA Finals was absolutely fantastic. These are his numbers. They're not what anybody would have expected. 21 points per game, 7.9 rebounds, 8.1 assists, 1.3 steals, shot 43% from deep. Reminder, at the beginning of the season, that's what we expected from Jason Tatum. He's been an all-world scorer, okay? He's been a multiple-time All-NBA guy, multiple-time All-Star. He led the league in scoring for years, had 37 points per game at one point at his absolute peak with the Boston Celtics. Asks out of Boston because they're just not winning enough, goes to Orlando, and was a great third fiddle. And this team was so close the last 2 years. But this year, he was terrible. Averaged 17 points per game, shot below 35% from deep, was not reliable. And the question coming into this was, okay, they're done. Orlando is done. They can't win an NBA championship. Not because Trey Hunter's not great. He is. Not because Jalen Green isn't a really good Robin. He is. But because Jason Tatum has just fallen off a cliff. And he's 35. He should be falling off a cliff. All of that erased with this postseason for him. He was absolutely phenomenal in all 3 rounds leading up to the NBA Finals. And then in the NBA Finals, forget about the shot, which is a ESPN replayability shot out of Jason Tatum. Just the stones, said it on the broadcast, the cojones, to take a 3 down by 2 in the corner. You miss it. First off, you miss that 3, season's probably over. Because if Phoenix gets the rebound, free throws, and we're playing the foul game, not only does he make it, but he turns around and doesn't even watch it go in. Incredible. Like, just you want to talk about shots and legacy impacts. That just right there is a legacy-changing shot. Not only because it got him a championship, but because he's looking away as the shot goes through. Absolutely just chef's kiss. This is fantastic. Last legacy update, because I think it's way too early on Jacoby Cleaves. He finally gets there. He's, 25, 20, not even, 24, 23 years old. He'll be fine. But Cade Cunningham, that's now 3 NBA championships that he has lost, 2 with Oklahoma City, 1 with Phoenix. I don't even think this was his best shot. I thought the best shot was when he lost to Ja Morant, when everybody on the Memphis Grizzlies besides Morant was getting hurt, and Morant still carries them in for that. Of course, he missed a couple games in the other trip to the NBA Finals when they lost to Jason Sanders and the Cavs, but this was the best team that Cade Cunningham has been on, and they didn't get it done. And you're going to look back on this and just say, well, what else is there to say? Right? What else are you supposed to do if you're Cade Cunningham? His lines. Ever since being the number 2 overall pick in 2021, 6-time All-Star, 5-time All-NBA, 3-time NBA finalist, 0-time champion, and that's going to continue. It is a disappointing end for him. It's going to be the mark that he carries. Few guys in this era have gone to the number of finals, and really no guys have gone to the NBA Finals as many times as he has, and now not come up with a championship. His competition for that would have been guys like Trae Young, who made it once, Devin Booker, who's on the verge of retirement. He made it once with Houston. Cole Anthony, in terms of point guards, he made it once with Washington. Those are the stars that have come up short, and you can attribute some of that to Golden State just dominating, especially these last 3 years. But now, this is a tough road for a 31-year-old. He's still got it, because look at Trey Hunter. Trey Hunter still got it. But it's a disappointing end for Cade Cunningham. We're coming back. It's off-season time, baby. So off-season previews coming up next. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you're liking, commenting, subscribing. Would love to know your thoughts, so please drop them in down below. But appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate you watching. We're coming back. Off-season's up next.